So I thought I'd go over the plans while you guys get to watch my dogs run around. There's 3 of the 4. The other one's probably taking a nap in the back room of the house, aka dog house. They can go in and out, on their own, and they have AC and heat in there, so they're happy. All the white fluff you're seeing is from cushions. We've got some couch cushions in the dog room that they can sleep on at night. And one of them, I'm not sure which, enjoys shredding those. So, all right, so we're going to work on the pipes going under the axle, and I'm making those out of 2.5 square tube. I think it's 3/16 wall thickness. Here's what I've drawn up. Dun, da, da. So obviously you got a length here, 29 1/8. I've got a bunch of extra markings on here that don't necessarily pertain to just building it, but they're more like notes for the future. So we're going to cut this length, then we're going to have a 1 1/4 inch hole, and there's going to be a pin going through there, and then here the axle is going to sit on top because it's the way my Dakota is set up. The axle goes on top of the springs instead of under, and then we're going to have 6 5/8 inches between that and the center of the airbag. I realize that's off center, but whatever. It's going to be the center of the airbag. There's one bolt that goes in the bottom. Then I have to drill an access hole in the bottom here so I can get to that bolt with a probably a ratchet, long socket, deep well or whatever. And you got some of our basic measurements. So there's 2.5 inches between the end and that hole. Then there's 6 5/8 between the center of the airbag and the center of the axle. There's going to be a pin right there that goes into the spring bracket, I guess, on the bottom of the axle. That's going to be 9/16. I didn't put it on there. This is going to be half. I think that takes 3/8, but I'm upping it a little bit to half. And then, yeah, here's the cross section. So like this is the top view. We're going to have a total overall length. Well, I'm saying 30 1/4, but I don't think that measurement's right, because down here it's going to continue on 6 inches past this center line. So we can do the quick math here. 26, 28, 29 1/8 plus 6 inches is 35 1/8. So we have an overall length of 35 1/8. Let me correct that. There we go. Hey, 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 it's magic. Anyway, sorry, terrible reference. Oh, here they come. They think I got food or something. Maybe they just like being on camera. So 35 1/8 overall length there. And then distance from there to the front is going to be 33 5/8. So I put the extra measurements on there because I like to check myself as I go, because I do a lot of the math in my head. So, if I'm drilling this hole down here, I can measure 2.5 from the back. Okay, that's great. But I can also double check by measuring from this end, this direction, and know that it's 33 5/8. So I can kind of just check myself and make sure I haven't messed up my math. But anyway, we're going to get to it. Say bye, mongrels. Row! Row, row, row! Not going to do it, huh? Here are the 2 square tubes I marked up. Pay no attention to those extra markings. I've changed this plan like at least 3 times. So every time I mark it out again and then have to scribble those markings and then mark it all over again. But hopefully this is last iteration. So this is the tops. There's pins right there that you can hopefully see that are going to go into the bottom of the spring hanger on the axle, or spring platform, maybe. I don't know what you would call it. So we're going to start from that end. Through the magic of editing, I should have fixed that blooper. So from that end, we've got 2.5. We're going to cut it here, 2.5. There's going to be a 3/8 hole on the top. Then from there, we come forward 6 5/8 to where the spring hanger is. And then from there, from the center of that to this end down here, we have a total of 26 inches. I didn't put it on there, but it's 20 plus 6 inches. So there's 26 inches between here and where I'm going to cut it off. And then we're going to come back 6 inches from here, or we're going to come 20 inches from here, and that's going to be the center of our cross hole and pin. So essentially on this end, it's going to be pinned here. That end's going to go up and down. This end also is going to go up and down a little bit, and I've extended it past because I want to put a restriction on how far down that end can go. Like if the truck goes over a big hill and the axle drops completely out, I'm going to put a bump stop, a rubber bump stop, and probably a steel bump stop up at that end, just to make sure it cushions it a little bit and then it like doesn't go past, because I don't want it to rip my airbag down here. I don't want it to rip it like in half because I go over a big hill at 95 mile an hour or whatever. Hopefully I can do with this new axle. It like tears the bag out the bottom, and I immediately drop on the frame. So we gotta cut there, drill there. We gotta cut there, then we gotta drill in this side, and I put a mark here, and I try to mark the numbers, size I'm drilling. So this is gonna be 1.25 inches, and then on this side, it's also 1.25 inches, and that's centered this way. And then on the top, we just have to cut it there and drill a 3/8 down here, and yeah, cut it here. And we'll do that for both of them, and we'll see how it turns out. I like to clamp it down because, especially pipe, but square tube as well, because if you tip the saw at all, I figured out real fast that if you tip the saw, it'll like pull it, and it can do this like roll thing towards the saw. So just takes a second, put a clamp on it. There you have it. Did a great job. I mean, cut nice and square. A little bit of burr at the edge. Nothing I can't clean up. So we'll clean that up, and then we'll drill. We'll drill. And we'll drill. And we'll drill on both of them. And yeah, then we'll hopefully not change our mind at this point. Otherwise, we're throwing these out and starting over. But I think we're good. Really like the saw. Does a good job. So I'm planning to cap the ends of the tube off to help keep water and stuff from getting in there. Plus, if you're following behind me, you're gonna look underneath my truck and see like the open end of the tube. I don't really want that. I might not block the whole thing off. I'm thinking I might cut a piece of flat stock and leave like a 1/4 inch across the bottom. So if water does get up in there, it's got a place to run out, but at least that way it ends up like mostly closed. You know, I don't know if that's working. It's not really working. I have a piece of flat stock here somewhere. Something like this, you know, except down more. So like close off the top and down to about there. That way there's still room. So that's what I'm thinking. All right, so here's what I came up with. I'm just gonna tack them on over the end, kind of like that, and then you still got a gap at the bottom so that water or whatever can get in and out. Well, at least it won't get trapped in there, but it should help keep some of the debris and stuff from getting in there. So we're just gonna weld 3 sides. Yep, that's what I was trying to do. I'm all happy. See what that does. Top one looks kind of ugly. I was trying to balance, but this has gotten so hot I can't keep a finger on it, so to speak. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to hit it with an angle grinder, try to make it look like it's all closed off. Let's do the other end. All right, should be able to see what that looks like. So it'll sit like that, you know, weep hole at the bottom, still a little warm. But yeah, just kind of rounded them off, try and make it look a little better. I mean, if I was a real professional and I wanted it to be perfect, I'd come back and hit another layer and then grind that down and it would fill in all those little gaps and whatever in there. But I'm just gonna hit it with some roll-on Rust-Oleum, aka regular Rust-Oleum with a roller. All these parts are gonna get that, so that's close enough. There you have it, folks. All patched up, both ends welded. Well, still got to clean that one up, but all the ends are welded. Next we'll be moving on to drill press, punching holes in these. I drilled those back 1.25 inch holes using my drill bit. Unfortunately, the machine that I have and I think the fact that I'm stepping the bits up and up in size tends to get it drilling a little bit off of the mark. Now I'm thinking maybe I should have used like a hole saw or a mag drill or something would be nice if I had the money. So that hole is for this bushing essentially to go through, and then of course there's going to be a pin that then goes down through that. There's going to be another like oil light bushing that I'm going to put in there, but unfortunately you can maybe see from that angle that the hole is a little bit that way, and it's also a little bit drilled a little bit this way. Because these are going to go into the spring or the traction bar brackets, I guess, these need to be right. So what I'm going to try to do is use my plasma cutter. I've already marked. I'm going to try to cut out that corner a little bit, and then of course this is all going to be stick welded, so with any luck I'll be able to close up that gap easy enough. I mean, this is 3/16, this is quarter wall, so I mean I can turn it up and take my time and not have to worry about blowing holes through it. So let me turn and give you a view from the end also. It might be easier to see that way. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell by looking, but yeah, the actual hole is a little bit that way and a little bit that way. So we'll see what we can do with that plasma cutter. See if we can make a mess if nothing else. All right, here we go. Yeah, like a hot knife through butter. Yeah, left some crusty slag. Doesn't take long to heat up. Try that. Yeah, I think that's close enough. I mean, it's not a circle anymore, but I think it's close enough I can position it and tack it a couple sides and then flip it and do the same on the other side. So, well, let's try the other notch. I've already got it marked out. All right, so it didn't turn out terrible. That plasma cutter does a pretty good job. Might be one of my favorite new tools. But you can see all I did was waller it out a little so I can get it more to square. There's going to be a gap. Let me get you adjusted. All right. So you can probably see there's a little bit of a gap there. I mean, it's going to be somewhere between, so I don't think that gap will be too wide. I can't jump it with the welder, but it's just one of those deals where I'm using the wrong tool for the job, and I should have either gotten a hole saw or something, or maybe I should have just instead drawn the circle with you know, my pin, and then drilled like a 1/4 inch hole and then cut around it with the plasma cutter instead, because that thing's, I mean, it cuts really well. You know, it's kind of jagged right there, but that's not the machine's fault. That's me, you know, not having surgeon's hands while operating it. But it's a good machine. All right, so if you like simple solutions to different obstacles you need to overcome, you might find this entertaining. So I'm trying to get my pin here level side to side on this plane, like this way. I realized from the tubing to the surface needs to be 5/8 of an inch, so I cut me a small part of a square tube to look like this. You get it? So now it'll hold it at the right height on both sides. So I tacked those pieces down to the surface of my work table, and on both ends, so that they stay in place. It also holds the square tube this way, and then on the side again I've set up those marks. So I've got a mark down there, right there, and then I got a mark down here, right there, and then we can look down this way, and this will allow us to play with how square it is here. So from what I'm seeing, I want this side to stick out a 1/4 inch, so I made that mark. 1/4 inch is from the outside to the inside of my inside-most point of my mark. So right about there. And then as far as square, let me get you down here a little bit. Sorry. You can see a little bit closer. Maybe over just a little bit. There we go. So hopefully you can kind of see, like, obviously that's wrong, but I think I'm going to need it like all the way that direction. So what I'll probably do is tack back here on this side, and then I'll sit it back in the jig, and then I'll probably attack maybe up in here on this side, as long as it's sitting flat, you know, down on the surface, which it looks like it's going to be fine. So we're going to try and tack it up. All right, here we go. So all I need to do is make sure I'm right with my mark, and then I'm pulled all the way back against that side. And then I'm going to tack it on this side back here. I'll try to keep my head out of your way so you can see the bright lights. So I tried to put a fairly heavy tack on it because I want to make sure it holds while I come back with the stick welder and hit this side. You can't see it from that position, but there's a pretty wide gap, at least a 1/4 inch on this back side right here. Maybe you can see it, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to move and tack the other side next. All right. Next, we're going to tack on this, maybe up on this side somewhere. You can't see it from that angle, but it's sitting down on those blocks, and I can tell looking over top of it, it's real close to square, but needs to come forward just ever so slightly. So I'm going to use this hitch pin. Now I'm going to, before I tack it, I'm going to pull it just a little. There's just enough play there. Here we go. All right. Again, I tried to do a fairly large tack. Like I said, I'm going to come back and stick weld it, and I don't want it to move any. So hopefully it'll stay right there. Yeah, I'll bring you guys around so you can have a better look. All right, so you can see it's sitting down on the stop right there. And then I'll swing you over here. Dun, dun, dun. Now you're impressed. And yeah, sitting on that stop as well, right there. So we know that we're flat side to side. As you can see, we got a little bit more stick out. This is going to be the inside of the tube, and this is going to be the outside. So the wheel will be out on this side. And let me move you up and we can take a look from the top. Let the good times roll. All right, here's the view from the top. I'm going to tip you forward, keep an eye on that line. You can see we're pretty much dead on. Look at that. I like it. As long as it stays there while I stick weld it, we'll be in good shape. All right, we're ready to stick weld these up. Before we start, I thought I'd show you the worst one. This is my worst fail. Yeah, that's a 3/8 gap probably. We'll see. That's going to take a few passes, I think. Optimistically, a few passes. But I think I'm going to start on this one first. So yeah, here we go. All right. Its fan makes a lot of noise, so sorry about that. Yeah, buddy. That's how we do it. So, something to keep in mind. I turned the amperage down on the machine, and that's helped a lot with like bridging that gap and not so much impact that it blows through the weld. And then I was kind of going on one side and then go back, kind of like, you know, a little bit of a C, trying to lead it, get that puddle to kind of drag and stretch. I think it worked well. It's morning again. Today's project is going to be building these traction arm brackets, is what I've been calling them. They'll attach on the frame between the square tube and the frame, so that it has a pivot point. They look something like this. Focus. All right, so I got all fancy. It's 3-dimensional. So it's going to consist of what, 5 plates? A back plate back here, a front plate or face plate I'm calling it, end plate C, and a top plate D, and I'm going to have a gusset right there. The square tube will come in from this end and be pinned right through there. Then it doesn't show it on here, but down at this end I'm going to put a like rubber bumper so that the square tube will stick on past that pivot point, and when the suspension goes all the way down, aka I go over a really big hill, the tube will twist like this, and then that rubber bumper, it'll bump into that, and that'll keep it from just like falling out from under the truck. All right, so let's see here. So first we got what I'm calling plate A. And I got some basic dimensions here. It's going to be 8 inches by 9 1/4. So my drawing's not really proportional, but whatever. Here's the hole for the pin, and then we're going to have a couple holes for the 1/2-inch holes for the frame, so we can mount it to the frame. And of course, both of them are in line, but none of them are aligned this way, so that'll be fun. Next, plan B, faceplate. This will be one of the simpler ones, obviously. You know, 8 inches by 3 3/4, right? And then we're gonna have a hole drilled here, and of course, you know, I got measurements. I'm gonna trim the corner off. I think I trimmed the corner off of this one too. Yeah, I just didn't tell you guys that, but yeah, we're gonna 45 that corner back. And page C, this is the back plate. That 10 inches isn't right. I need to change that to 9 and whatever. And then the top plate, this is gonna sit on top of all of it, and I put the sides that it faces on here so I can remember. 9 7/8, 8 inches. That's more to help me when I'm doing the weld up assembly. And then of course that gusset for 3 3/4. And yeah, that'll bring us to, hopefully when it's finished, that'll bring us to this. The most complicated part, of course, is going to be the back plate, just because, you know, got cuts here, it got different size holes, and got different located holes. So that'll be the piece that if I'm gonna mess something up, it'll probably be that one. But anyway, it's a beautiful morning. Dogs are out. Life is good. We're gonna get started. What are you doing, Mealy Mealy? I see you, little girl. What are you doing, huh? What are you doing, Mealy Mealy? Oh. She's gone. Oh, ran out of breath. She is gone. Just to see her, she's gone. Can't go on. Oh, it's gonna get close. It's just a weekend, who's waiting on the judgment day. Some of the more astute among you will notice I want to put all these holes in the same spot on all of these plates. So what I've done is I've tack welded along the edge. That one's ugly, but you get the idea. Yeah, there. Basically, it'll hold all of them in place while I drill, so all of the spaces, the distances between them will be the same on all of the plates. All right, got them all cut up and got the edges all cleaned up. They're ready to tack together. And then we're going to use the big stick welder and weld them up and see what happens. I'm thinking it's about time for me to get a different pair of gloves. These are pretty much worn out. Got a hole in the end of that finger. Got stitching coming apart there. The whole back of them, you can see my skin through the back of them. So yeah, I got my money's worth out of these. I figure I can afford to grab another pair. Oh yeah, that's better. Woohoo! Now we're styling. See how long they stay clean. One town that won't let you down. It's my kind of town. All right, so got them tacked up. I think they came out fairly well. I'm pretty happy. Now stick weld them up and should be in good shape. Alright, well let's see if I still remember how to do this. Time! Pretty sure that's what that tool's used for. Come on. Oh yeah. All right. Yep, that didn't work. think we got just enough left. We can maybe do this one right here. If I make it quick, should be able to pull that. Well, maybe. We got less than I thought. Yep, nope. Guess again. Good morning, America. How are you? Hey, she's right there. I think I'm going to try to go across the back and then come forward. We'll see how that works out. Good and toasty, but that's how she looks. Still got to clean that out, but I'll get that and then weld up the other one. Then we'll take a look at them. So here's the finished product, minus paint, of course. So don't be too quick to judge. Once they get painted up, I think they'll look pretty good. It'll cover a lot of my more poor looking welds. But underneath, I didn't really record this, but I put a stop in there and a rubber bumper. Actually, I can put this together and show you even better. Well, I was trying to give you guys a view down in here, but the bump stop's right there. And the axle will go down at this end and then the airbag behind it. So this is going to travel up and down. I just wanted something to stop it up here. So if I go over a big bump and this like drops all the way out, it doesn't rip my airbag in half. So there's the rubber bump stop, and then back here is that metal stop, like the as far as it's going to go stop. So it's got some spring to it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Like I said, I wanted to get you guys a shot up in there, but it's too dark up in there, and I tried a light. It's just not working, and the camera doesn't want to focus either, so sorry, you'll just have to trust me on this one. All right, so this is the right side of the truck. This is the front. The axle's right there. The front of the cab or the front of the truck and the cab is right there. You can kind of see the green paint right up in there. I've marked plenty of lines on here, but the plan is to use this hole and this hole, and then we're going to drill 2 more holes. There's going to be one up in here somewhere. Then there's going to be one, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this is a double wall frame through this section. There's a hole already drilled here and then an old hole there. My goal is to hit directly above this, probably somewhere in between, probably about right where that silver line is. So let's hold our bracket up and see if we're going to get close. I thought these were 1/2 inch. They're holes from the rivets for the front spring mounts that I cut out, but they're not 1/2 inch, so I already drilled this one up to 1/2 inch. It's like so. And yeah, we're going to try to stick the hanger through one hole at least, so I don't have to hold it up here the whole time. And then I'll put a nut on the back just so it doesn't try to take off on me. And I'm going to get a hammer and tap that in, and then get a wrench and snug it just a little bit. All right. See my hammer? Shout out to Eric O. Any tool can be a hammer. All right, let's see if I can snug that a little bit, just so it's not flopping around on us. Sorry if I'm bumping into the camera. Trying to get you guys to where you can see, but also get the work done. Well, see, already I see that rear hole is a little bit off. And also it looks like it's a little bit high. I'm kind of going with this silver mark here and then this silver mark here, because I think that's a line that I made that's straight with the body. So that kind of gets the bracket flat with the body line of the truck. So I'm not sure what I want to do. I think this one, you guys probably can't see it. Hang on. All right, so it's close, but let me clean out that little metal shaving. There we go. So you can see like the inside shoulder of it of the frame needs to be cut off. I can probably drill that. I'm sure my drill bit won't like that. But looking at the line, I almost think it needs to come down to about there. So I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna do a happy medium. Go about halfway, like right in there. And then I'll fight this to drill it over because my hole wasn't dead on. But then we'll have a good hole here, and you can kind of see up here, I'm hitting real close to that mark that I was saying I wanted to hit. So the only one I'm gonna struggle with is this, trying to drill it out. So here we go. All right, let's see if we can mark this top one about center, somewhere in there. Then we can mark this one about right there. I think I'm going to drill this and drill that. Then I'm going to stick a bolt in one of these two to hold the bracket, and then I'll try to fight out what's in there. But we'll see. Woo! Oh yeah, good times. We're gonna bump it to 3/8 and then to half. Now the big jobby. Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right, that was easy. I'm gonna move you guys a little. Give me a little bit more room. All right. Like that. That wasn't bad at all. Oh yeah. That's how you get metal shavings in your finger, by the way. All right, let's swing you around. You can take a look at them. Oh yeah, look at that, look at that. Not too shabby. I think that'll do the job. Let me back out and give you a view from the distance, a little bit of distance. There you go. I mean, it is what it is. It's probably built plenty heavy. You could probably put that bracket on a 1-ton truck. I'm sure it would be fine, but yeah, it'll do what I need it to do. Some paint, get it bolted up there, it'll be perfect. Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm always surprised when I stumble upon a YouTube creator who has millions of subscribers and has been producing videos for years, completely unknown to me. I would like to help correct this issue by giving some of my favorite creators a shout out during my videos. To that end, I would like to take this opportunity to spotlight one of my fellow YouTube creators, someone I personally subscribe to. If you find my content interesting, please consider going down to the video's description and follow the link I have placed there. The link will take you to today's chosen creator. But for now, please stay tuned for any bloopers related to this video. Thank you, everyone. Figure this will be a good opportunity to talk about orientation of whatever you're working on. So it's a note that this is the top. The axle sits on here, right? So I therefore want my drain hole to be down here. So when you just like rush off and start welding, things like this happen. So now I got to cut that off and flip and probably just get a new piece and weld it on. So the hole's here at the bottom. Dummy. 2 8 plates. One's a 1/2 inch shorter. Yay! What did I do wrong here? One's 9 1/4, one's 9 1/2, which is the number I wanted. 9 1/2. All right, so then that one gets thrown out. Guess I can cut it up for something else, but we're gonna have to cut another one of these. All right, gonna need some cut video here.